Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Feedback Friday. I'm your host, Jacob. It is Art Edition today. Hello and welcome. How are we all doing today? All right, so we're live, we have audio, things are going. We are going to be doing art today, and uh, should be a fun one. I don't know if we'll go super long today, but I think we'll have a pretty full uh, art day today. Should go well. Hello, hello. We are going to be working on a trap skin today. The chrome circlet of pursuing. Gonna get a little glow up. All right. Everyone sound their horns. Oh, also got a treasure chest to claim. Nice. Okay. Got another one to join, and I'm on it. All right. Let's get to the art. Okay, so as I mentioned, today we are working on the chrome circlet of pursuing. Doing a trap skin for this today. All right, so let's get my canvas how I like it. I have a little sidebar with like swatches and tools and stuff lined up right at the edge of the camera so I know where that bounds at. All right, so what are we doing with it? Straight up, we are going to be kind of like giving it a Mosu Picchu kind of look. That's kind of like the direction I'll give it. So considering all the shapes, the peaks and spires and stuff, I kind of feel like that automatically has a fairly easy tie-in if we want to just kind of like convert it into like the stones, the mountains, kind of grass growing across it, maybe lightning, stormy. I'm thinking start with the environment and then lean into like the kind of weather stuff. So this one's quite a complex trap, so I'm going to use the benefit of having it in its raw kind of form where I can pull out different layers and manipulate those independently. So I think I'll actually duplicate the chrome. Why is this in that folder? This file needs some cleanup. So all of this. Okay, that's fine. This is a new folder I just made. And I'm going to duplicate this layer. I said I'm going to duplicate that folder at least. Okay, so okay, so I can hide that one. We can just kind of look at what layers exist here. I think I maybe drew this on stream. I don't know. Long time back. Should the environment be mostly sky and mountain peaks? I'm thinking that, yeah, like these kind of amber chunks or whatever they are could be more kind of like stones and peaks, and then kind of these spires here. Maybe I'll make them more kind of uh, match the mountains, where it's maybe a little less kind of like twisting, or it could be um, vines and stuff growing off to create that shape. These floating bits, I'm thinking they're just going to be like rocks. But then all the lighting and stuff is going to be lightning for sure. Ooh, Zocor / Labyrinth in the background. That's kind of cool. We'll see if we can fit that. I'm not sure it like should be tied together though, because it's less that the trap is the location. It's more that it's kind of created from its elements, and they're not technically like tied together in a strong enough way. It'd be like, like I imagine if I wanted to do something with Zocor, it's gonna have labyrinthian themes and vice versa because they're kind of like, the same area, just different locations in it. But it's a fun idea to have it in the background, so we'll see about that. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone. Okay, so I think I'll just kind of ignore several of the layers. Where do we want to start though? That's always kind of the trick. So I think if I'm looking at this, immediately my first thought is let's turn it into the purple lightning, right? Give it that Fulmina kind of glow. So that might be as easy as just creating a colorized layer and grabbing like a nice pinky purple, really saturated. It's almost there. It's not quite. Okay, I'll have to paint in a little bit more to get that just right. Try adding it to all the bits. Okay. So that's a start anyways. We're just kind of getting some of it shifted. I think I like this pink over that one. Change color, change color. Okay. They're very, very similar, so it's hard to even notice the difference. Okay, so those are purplified. That I can even just tone down. Which I wonder if hue would work better than color. Let's see what this does. Don't really notice the difference. Guess I'll use that. Okie dokie. Alright, so this background glow. There's a big, kind of soft glow behind all of that. Let's see if we can find that. There we go. Same idea. Give it a color, hue, overlay, maybe? Go with hue. Yes, quick catch up. We are going to be creating a new trap skin for the Chrome Circlet of Pursuing that is in the Machu Picchu flavor. Okay, so for these, I think I'm just going to repaint. So what we can do is create a new folder. We'll keep the old one. And I'm going to grab an earthy kind of color, and we're just going to start to block in. Now, do we want to kind of create the same silhouette? And just have it be very kind of craggly, rocky, and viney. And have like a nice layer of grass on the tops of it. It's a little bit neon. Okay, that's a good idea. Having one side of the trap be windy, the other side rainy. That's pretty clever. Playing into the gameplay of it would make sense. Alright, I'm gonna have to travel to location to remember exactly how that HUD should look. Right. Boom, boom. Alright, wind on the left. Thought so. Okay. Alright, I'll quickly change my trap so that goes away. Alright. Good. Quickly travel back. Disarm. Set my trap back up. And my cheese. Sweet. Alright. Rubble should be dragon scales. Oh, interesting idea. Alright, I'm gonna do another layer for this one here. We're just gonna rough it in. We'll tighten it up as we go. Because I might change direction, right? I might decide, I don't like this very much. Let's try something completely different. So it's easier to start it pretty rough and loose. Still a chrome weapon, so we should probably maintain some of that identity somewhere. That's a good point. Yeah. Oh, only windy since that's the arcane part. Could be a valid point on that, right? Because you'd be using like a draconic for both. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think putting the arcane vines would be a good way to kind of like lean on that direction of it. Okay. Yeah, that'll assist with the windiness of it. Having those tassels kind of hanging off things, I guess. All right. So for the actual, hold on, doing its autosave. For the actual kind of like circlet, what do we want to do? Do we want to kind of like maintain more chrome, keep the shape, do something totally insane, and just recreate everything? Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I think I like all these pebbles and stuff being the environment, and the actual trap itself doesn't need to be the environment. Like maybe it's made of arcane vines, or it's the chrome all kind of like wrapped up in arcane vines or something. I definitely like the idea of the this kind of like light feature here being lightning, right? So I still want it to kind of like be a little bit of overall Machu Picchu instead of just purely wind side, but like leaning on the wind side of it might be best. The circlet be the fireball. That's kind of a fun idea. Mm. Okay, let's transform these rocks, I think. Okay. Where the glowy... Where does the glowiness come from? Not that. Nor that. I'll just hide those completely. Yep. Nope. Don't want that. Overall brightness. Not what I need. There we go. All the way down here. Perhaps small lightning crackles coming off the twin orbs. I'm thinking something like that would be pretty cool. Giant fireball themed trap would be pretty sweet too. Okay. Gonna hide that one. Keep that. Gonna hide these shadows. They're not quite working unless multiply only. I'll get rid of them. Can add them back in how I need them. Okay. This is probably the one I needed. Yeah. Okay. Gonna knock all that back first. Going to erase these ones. Sure. Okay, and now this like lighting here, I think that comes from a shading pass somewhere. Like a masked off kind of area. Like this kind of thing. It's something like that. Which is a little awkward to work with. I don't like painting under things like that. It's not a great way to do it. So I might see if I can rip this and put it over top and then just switch my lighting on it. Okay, so that's a little more where I need it. Not that it looks it, but should make it easier. Okay, so now what am I missing? I'm just going to take this whole group and I'm just going to flatten it because I don't need to deal with all that. This, what are you doing? Get rid of you. You're just adding mess to this. These are gone. These are gone. Bring you in. I'm just going to paint you all over again. There's something going on with the background here, though. What is this? This here. Okay. Wow. All right. Not a great way to do this. IMO. Yeah, I don't like it. Honestly, I might just remove this because I'm gonna redo the environment anyways. Um, yeah, let's just do it that way. Okay, gonna get some Machu Picchu background going. Let's take a look at Fulmina's background because she's probably going to be the most relevant background I could imagine. The Mountain Queen. Okay. Although background's a lot less cool than I remembered it. I think I was really impressed with how I did the clouds, but then the actual like mountaintop kind of phoned that in by the looks of it. It also isn't very like Machu Picchu looking, the shapes of it and stuff. So I think I could have done that a lot better. Cutie's asking how the fire situation in the other apartment now. Totally fine. It was like someone had kind of left a pot on a stove and melted the handle. Not great. They're all okay though, and that hasn't happened since. We did have uh, a fire in the lobby though. Um, or like the the guy that cleans the lobby was using a really old vacuum in a socket, and apparently it shorted, and kind of a lot of soot came out of that socket, which is very not cool. Old building, yeah, so not awesome. Not happy that our wiring might just melt and cause acrid smoke. But apparently, they had electricians come in and check it out and repair it, make sure everything's okay, supposedly. But knowing how my building is managed, I don't know if I actually believe that. Okay, so this folder here, or this cloud here, I think I'm going to make more storm cloud. Thunderlord has some interesting colored orbs that are unique to the area. I think that's probably a good point. Let's check out Thunderlord. Yeah. The like orbs on the belt kind of thing. There's quite a few characters that have really good kind of like environmental energy. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. The Rainmancer. All right. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the characters. Yeah, I mean, if we did want to lean wind side, it's a very different look, right? So like, hmm, since it is the arcane, should okay. So maybe I'll leave this up to you. Um, should we go kind of like full storm and like it's kind of like the epicness of Machu Picchu, or should we go like arcane wind only? I'm kind of feeling the full storm just because all the other trap skins that we're kind of doing with this set are kind of on the really epic and cool side and like super dramatic and like more kind of about the areas, I guess. How about both? I mean, I definitely want the lightning stuff, so I'm thinking both is gonna almost have to I'm thinking it's almost gonna have to be the lightning and storm, but like really showing the wind side of it too. Storm, surge, violent tempest. Yeah, full storm. Oh, from the geyser. Yeah, I had fun with that one. Thinking out loud, if we replace the main shape with something similar but different, disembodied floating dragon head with fayish frills. I mean, that sounds really cool. I don't know if it's quite Mosu Picchu enough. Like, I'm thinking more like glowing orbs, uh, like cracked rocks with a lot of plant matter, like almost holding it together. Lightning, kind of like and greasy kind of wetness from the heavy rains and stuff like that. Like that's where my brain goes. Like the only dragon, well, I guess there is kind of the whole like storm set of dragons, so fair enough on that. But they're more draconic. Fulmina's like the legit dragon there, but uh, I don't know. Like I'm not thinking Fulmina head would work for the trap though. So it could be cool, but like I'm just not seeing it for this one. I think exactly that too. It's not a dragon trap, so it would be like really kind of like confusing. I think so. Making sure it's more on the arcane side is really important. I think. Yeah, wind elemental. Maybe. I'm thinking the orbs, and again, like part of the like importance, I think, is to keep the chrome somehow as well. So like, I think it's useful to show that in some way. Like we'll color shift it all, and have stuff kind of like on it. But if we kind of like remove that entirely and then like make it something else, I mean, we can do that, and it's not unprecedented. We've definitely done that with plenty of trap skins. I'm just like, what can I do in a single stream? That sounds like it'd be a little more tricky. Green storms, purple lightning. Perhaps, perhaps. Okay, I'm going to change the clouds because I think that's a good next step. Let's see. I'm going to use just a normal. Okay, this should definitely be out in front. What's this doing all the way at the bottom? This needs to be able to like crop things. Bring it all the way to the top. Okay, so I'm gonna just build up a little bit of clouds. Front, we're gonna roll this out even more. Gonna take more space. Getting this like internal glow is kind of clutch for these clouds. So we can get a bit of rim light on it, but for this kind of stormy look, it's more about the inner glow. So we're gonna really kind of push that right near the epicenter of it. So where the clouds are a bit like denser, it gets kind of blacker, but there's kind of like different densities through the whole mass, right? And it's ultimately still translucent. So at the edges, we're gonna let stuff come through. And then I think I'm gonna get this like light pink. And any of the kind of edges that are maybe facing it most directly are gonna get picked up by that. And again, it's, you know, vapor, so the light's gonna kind of scatter around through it. Okay. We'll develop that further as we need it. For now, that's fine. Put the cyclone stone trap on the top of it and call it a day. Max wind. That's funny. I mean, Avatar: The Last Airbender was actually a pretty big influence in the wind side, certainly. All right, so let's get the background clouds appropriately blooming with lightning. Okay, so that's one of them. There's another. And the main body of it. So I'm going to take all this. Shove all that into a group. There's our cloudage. Very good. Let's set that to normal. I'm going to create a clipping layer. We're going to start with a color one. That was not very useful. All right. We'll do a normal. Okay, so this glow back here is decently powerful. Might need to really tone that back. Like, it's great for popping these wings out, and it did a good job of that, but I'm not sure if I want it anymore. So I'm going to concentrate it more towards the glowing orbs. So we can let the clouds do their jobs. Seems better. I'll keep it for now. Okay, cool. So this is doing okay. Now, I think I'll get this light gray on the tops of these peaks is fine. And then like the underside of these, I like feeling heavy and dark with rain. Go quite concentrated here. Okay, so the base is going to be kind of like insanely contrasty until we do a little more to kind of pull it into the environment. We need to bring those kind of rocks back. I mean, maybe I'll tweak it so that it's on the peak of the mountain. That'd be kind of cool. Replacing the chrome fairy wings into some purple cloak with the orb in the middle. Maybe. Lean more into the butterfly wings with the arcane vine motif. That's also pretty cool. Chrome feathered wings could be nice. All pretty interesting potential. What do we want to do for that? I do like the idea of kind of like making sure the wind part is strong. So I'm kind of like imagining all these like purple roiling powerful energies and then having this kind of like green gold kind of the if you look at the mice of the area, you'll actually see that there's like quite strong color palette for them. Um, so let's see. Like the Wind Warrior, Fluttering Flutist. But yeah, all these like floating rocks, wind particles, light billowy fabrics, vines blowing in the wind, floating orbs, all those things, and then like in the middle of this torrential storm. Uh, so kind of wanting to like make the orb itself. They don't really have like green orbs. They have like these blue glow gems, right? So kind of like the original color, which works. Kind of makes sense even. So like if I leaned into those and then brought in the kind of green aspect and kind of like had it combat the storm, that's kind of maybe epic feeling. Is it the right move? No clue. The way art works, at least for me, is I kind of gotta actually explore things, try to discover if it works or not. Because I can't just summon the image in my brain and see it. How some people might be able to, but I don't have that. So I have to actually kind of like explore it and draw it to see it. I'm thinking instead of like the purple, we could go more green at them fringes. Those do nothing. This is the main one. Can the circles surrounding the center orb be wind vines? Actually, I think that's a great way to show that. I like that. Storm in a teacup trap skin. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to try converting these into the wind vines. Or at least having wind vines kind of like tangled up in it. Sorry, just looking through some asset stuff. Okay, here we go. Wind vine. Boom. Let's bring that over. Because that would make sense. Like it could literally be the blue orbs. Right? Now, do we need it to be that connected in those ways? Not at all. Yeah, no, we're definitely going to have like debris flying through the air and probably rain at the edges and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely going to have some effects that get added in near the end that are really going to suddenly sell that, oh boy, it's so windy. But usually you kind of add that stuff near the end. Okay, I'm going to tuck that up into the corner. We're going to put this up here even. Oop. I do want to take a crack at this and turn it into more of the lightning effect. So we can kind of bench all this. I do like me that rainbow effect there. Okay, let's group that. This one can turn off. And then I'll set that down to lower opacity. Lightning disc. Okay. All right, Fulmina, let's do this. So obviously this is not how lightning would work, because it's generally going to take the path of least resistance or something like that. Forking like crazy and jumping all over. I don't know, maybe it'll do some kind of orb thing. I guess there is lightning. Ball lightning is a thing. Phenomena. Maybe it's not that much different from whatever I'm drawing here. But yeah, I kind of want the same shape, right? This targeting reticle, as it were. But making it lightning. plasma ball. Okay, so we're gonna fill in this kind of area with this arcing lightning, full opacity, hard edge silhouette kind of thing. Then we're gonna kind of make it glow. We're gonna turn it into an actual kind of lightning effect. And hopefully we'll like what it looks like and we'll be like, great, this was worth doing. And we can now move on to other parts of this illustration. And we are happy to not have to fiddle with this and be disgruntled that it is not looking cool enough. Because it'll look great the first try. And that's how it always works. Definitely. Yep. 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 Every time. Never have to bash my head against the wall trying to get some kind of effect look that I don't really know what I'm going for, but I get there. One day. Maybe. Alright. Ramble done. So this is like cool looking. I'm like, do I want it to kind of arc from the orb? Do I want it to kind of like be a lightning strike out of the shot kind of thing? You know, like what am I going for here? Hopefully this has lightning look to it. I don't know, I have my own idea of what it should look like. And that's probably informed by like movies and TV kind of like showing it in certain ways and not necessarily from, witnessing a lot of live current arcing through, you know, the air, making it smell like ozone. Though I have witnessed, you know, pretty intense energy like that, I try not to look directly at it. Kinda a bit much for them uh, orbs. Maybe the reticle is a cloud with lightning coming out of it. It could be. Could be just kind of like a ball of cloud with kind of like blast and lightning. Hmm. Making sure the cheese is going to play nice in this space is a fair point. That is always something we need to be sure of. Generally, anything that goes into the cheese section, like where the cheese lives, um, even one as big as uh, Aurora Boccaccini, um, we tend to make sure that, if the cheese is going to be in front of an element, then it would make sense to be in front of the element. Like the trap is not supposed to lay in front of the cheese ever. It's always that the cheese will sit on top of any trap element that overlaps it. So as long as that rule is applied, we can have as much overlap as we want. Several early traps, I even made plinths and platforms for the cheese to supposedly sit on. And that was fine. Didn't always line up because I did not always follow my own kind of plans, or other artists wouldn't really kind of, know, or the cheese mainly. It was me creating the cheese and exporting the cheese was not kind of aligned well enough for all of the traps, that sometimes it was a little bit odd. Legacy art. Okay, so little bits there. I don't know if I want it to go up there. It's fine. So like that, and then we're gonna get a glow behind it. So we'll go nice hot pink fuchsia power. Use my good old occlusion brush, and we're gonna blast behind this, where it's like the most concentrated. Okay, now I think I almost need that to go like pure white, and then we could do the trick that I did with the original, where I duplicate this several times and we restrict the color channel. Okay, we'll have to turn that off because that seems kind of a bit interference. All right, so then let's see what happens if I do this. That, and we'll do more like that, and then let's see what's the best way to do this. Whoops. That, and I'm gonna duplicate this just to have it as backup. Okay. And technically this one should be okay, and then we'll do like additive. Or is it screen might be better? Maybe lighten. Maybe they need to be a little closer together too. Vivid light's okay. I don't know if we need to do this kind of effect, but it is kind of fun. Soft light kind of gets us there. And then where it overlaps, maybe. So if I do this, duplicate that, bring it to the top, and clip it. And then this is just pure white. That's kind of neat. Okay. And then I think one more pass with kind of like the high intensity pink. To like pull the overlapping together a bit better. Because we want it more at the fringes that it starts to kind of bleed apart. This just kind of helps to make it easier to look at, but should still feel a bit too much to look directly at, is kind of the intention. Don't look directly at lightning strikes, folks. Or do. It's fun. Okay, maybe pull that back a little bit. I think it's more don't look directly at welding arcs. Those will blind you. Okay, I don't know if I like that, but we can move on for now. Okay, so that's an attempt at kind of like this version of things. We could try bringing the rainbow in again. Give it a rotation, maybe. Maybe. I don't know, maybe it actually works with both. I think that kind of does work better. I think the clouds in the background are a little distracting too. The way it kind of concentrates to that point. I think I want to kind of adjust that. Now it has the 3D effect. Pretty much. That's, yeah. Let's see. So many layers. I think I might just flatten it all. Because that's all just for the clouds. Clouds. Alright, so these orbs exist elsewhere. So let's group all of this to the reticle. Boom. Now I can go in and kind of fix this cloud here. Okay, get a bit of the deeper colors going on in here. I want to hurt my eyes. Bring the pain. Maybe just one of them. That's why you got two, right? Backup. Okay, so getting some cloudage. And then I think we can get some of the internal kind of lightning glowing in it. That should look kind of cool. What we should do is give this a little flipperoo, kind of make sure everything looks kind of where we want it to be. Maybe kind of deepen these up here. And then the next test is to check the values of the piece. So I kind of like the idea of like the whole backing is like lit with the lightning, or exactly not that. More so the front has this kind of reticle that's exploding with light, and things are kind of more lit off of that. right? So there'd be kind of lighting on all the elements kind of like coming from the reticle is good too. And then we gotta see about kind of like getting this airy, arcane wind kind of look to it. And like, I don't know, maybe the reticle's too intense. I might need to knock that back. There's a lot to consider with it. Okay, that should go into this folder. It's supposed to go at the top of it. Thank you very much. Okay, and these are wings. All right, and then I want like the arcane vines. Probably make these banding out of the arcane vines. I think that'd be kind of cool. We'll get a bunch of wind effects. I think we'll be pretty set, honestly, around that point. So let's do a little value test. Boom. Okay. So these spires, the pillars here, are definitely not in range where they need to be to kind of be like nice and readable. Mosu Pichu, yeah, Pichu journal theme is quite gray. Maybe. Like it kind of depends on the flavor that I want it to give. Because I kind of actually imagine Machu Picchu being quite vibrant until it's storm o'clock. And then, we're dealing with kind of storm lighting, which is in this case mostly lightning lighting. Um, so, it's very informed by that. Otherwise, like, yeah, the clouds have rolled in and really kind of like smothered the nice sunlight that the wind side gets. What does the journal theme look like? Just for that reference point. I mean, I think it's the idea is that those are kind of gray because they're like so far back. But the rocks in it are feeling a little more kind of like stone instead of earth. And um, but if you look at the map, and this is kind of more where I'm coming from, the map itself is a lot more kind of like brown gray than like blue gray. So I want to have that kind of look going on. All right, let's bring in those little kind of rock friends. These guys. Why are they so translucent? This is wrong. Where are the real ones? These ones. I'm going to just delete these. You don't belong here. We're going to bring this up to the spires. Because why are you not in this folder? You could be in this folder if you want. I believe in you, little guys. Okay. Do I want them to be above here or even here? Nope, definitely not. Happy to have them in the background. Okay, let's just flatten that out. fix this. Less tiny individual pebbles, more kind of mountain peak. And then what I want is to have these kind of like coming out of the cloud layer. In fact, I kind of want this to be what's going on, where there's kind of like almost this range below. And if I grab the base, well, that's not the right layer. Grab the base. And we come here and do one of these. Where it's kind of like hanging off the edge of this mountaintop. And then I think I would change these to not have the like twisted spire. But we could use like the arcane vines to kind of like wrap it. So we're like at the top of the mountain peak with this. This is kind of like combining and fusing with the base almost. And then this is like the lightning rod or something in the wind. It's at the top. I don't know, that's where my mind's going with all this right now. I don't like all these little pebbly ones. I want it to be like powerful spires. You've reached the top of this powerful mountain. So here's kind of like the texture of this kind of raw hewn stone that like the lightning strikes have blasted to pieces or something. Flip the image back to its original side before continuing the mountain. So like this, rotation wise? Or do you mean looking at the original image? Yeah, I think I like this. It's quite wonderfully precarious too. So then this would be like heavily in shadow underneath kind of thing, right? To kind of indicate this idea. And then the clouds down here could like go like black as night. Or it could even have a gap in the clouds where we see the stars behind. So you're like, oh, we're high up. Right? Like that could be cool too. So if I mask this off, beautiful sky behind. Kind of cool actually. All right. I mean, maybe there's something here actually. It's kind of nice. Kind of like the like sunset feel. Maybe doesn't feel the most Machu Picchu, but maybe if I get a couple little stars back here too, that could. You know? There might be something with this. Might be something with this. Maybe we don't need to go that strong a color. Like that. Can the sunset happen during an intense storm? When it's this localized, yes. Yeah, you can have like the sunset. We're up high in the atmosphere, so like the atmosphere is thinner in there. We're in the storm cloud. Um, I mean, we got a lot of elements going on, and also it's an illustration in the MouseHunt universe, so pretty much anything is game. If we want these elements mixing together, we can make that happen. But yeah, like super intense localized uh, hyperstorm where it's just here is totally doable, right? I'm not a scientist. I am an illustrator of a ridiculous game where things are constantly defying their own rules. So, yeah, I'd say it is definitely possible. Okay. So we're at 12:26, making great time on this, to be honest. Um, we're going to be coming up on lunch in about half an hour. So I will be taking a break then. But I feel like we got a lot of good momentum. So let me make sure to save this not over the original. My goodness. All right. Let's do pretty important to save, at some point. Okay. Give that a save. I did not start a time lapse. I realized that like just as I started talking about going on lunch. Um, Unfortunately, I should have realized to do that because this would be a really cool one to watch. Uh, but yeah, unfortunately, did not start one. I starting one now because maybe we'll get to see this happen at the end of the stream if I kind of finish the piece. But like a lot of the cool kind of big swinging of the original is done now. So unfortunately, that's gonna be lost. Sorry that I didn't realize that I was not recording. A lot of these older files I actually still have set up to like auto record, but this one's a Photoshop specific file, and opening a Photoshop into Clip Studio, which is where I paint from, it's not going to have a time lapse already started. So my bad on completely omitting that pretty cool detail. So sorry about that. All right, so here's where we came from, and now here's what we're doing. So not a like bad shift for dramatic, like making it more dramatic. I'd say that's definitely happening. Could we just start all over from the beginning to get just for the time lapse sake? I think Dallas. That's a really good point. Like, let's just delete this file, load it up from scratch. Maybe even repaint it from the beginning is actually even better because then we get even more time lapse goodness. So yeah, good call. Let's do that. Yeah, it'd be a fun one. I'm sorry I didn't start it, but it started now, so we'll see what we get out of it. It's still a PSD file, so when this is fully closed, that time lapse will actually self delete. Uh, just like it's a Mission Impossible briefing. We'll have it while we're here, but I haven't really like edited out time lapses anyway, so it's actually kind of a good thing because they make the files much larger, and so for it to just kind of like be around while we're live, that's cool. But the moment I'm done with the file and it's like in the game and whatnot, like I'm not going to do anything with that time lapse. So the fact that it'll just go away is kind of good. All right. Don't think I have anything valuable to offer today. Your company is extremely valuable, Dallas. Thank you for being here. Uh, so there. All right. Stay hydrated, friends. Um, that's important. That's what I'm offering. Drink water. I did a volunteer thing last Saturday where I ran a booth where we were making leather keychains with the public. We made 150 keychains in the span of, like an afternoon. It was a lot of fun. Um, but I was like, go, 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 go the whole time, talking, standing in a like super hot and humid parking lot, under a tent at least, so I wasn't in direct sunlight. But it was pretty warm. And there was like a crazy storm that like was rolling through. It skipped our area completely, which is awesome because the year before we got completely like rained out. Um, but the whole time, I like did not give myself appropriate breaks to like stop and hydrate. So after the event, I was like so wrecked and suddenly had a massive headache because I did not drink enough water. So yeah, it's important. Stay hydrated. We all like that. All right. So this here, we could maybe dabble with the vines right now. Think that'd be fun. What is for lunch? I'm probably gonna make a ham and cheese sandwich. It's kind of like my go-to recently. It's nice and delish. Just quick slices of bread, slap a bit of meat and cheese, get a really good mustard and some Japanese mayo, and then pickles, either sliced in it for that added crunch or on the side as a little palate cleanser. Um, but that's good. But actually, a friend made some really nice cranberry jam, and having that on toast with cream cheese is quite excellent. It's like basically dessert. Uh, and she made it with sugar cane instead of just like white sugar, and it's extremely tasty because it's like so tart with just enough sweetness to it. It's very lovely. All right, so I think I want to tweak these orbs first. They feel out of balance, especially with this one sliced in half. So I think I'll do that. Boom. Realize it was just a mask going. And then the glow behind, where do you exist? All the way out here. Let's pop this up here where it belongs. We're going to keep that nice blue-green. We're going to delete that. We're going to soften this. But first I'm going to grab this green, put it right behind nice and strong. And then we're going to go to our mix brush and just kind of blob that out. Nice kind of will-o-wisp look to it now. And then I think I'm going to clean up the shape of this. Not quite. Boom. And then one size smaller. Boom. I see how I did that. Okay. I like that. Now, do I need to make sure that this has a hard edge to it? I think I'll do that. So the occlusion brush has like, why is it so light? It should have like a hard concentrated core, but it looks a little too soft. Like its opacity is at 50%. That's what's up. Don't know when that changed. But yeah, it should be more like that. Okay, so that's a lot stronger than it was. I kind of like it a bit weaker. And I like little kind of concentrated motes of it. Could almost have like wisps coming off, maybe. Or alternately making it feel a little more lightning-like, where it's like jagged, kind of like that. But if we have too much of that going on in one scene, it gets a little too noisy. So I'm going to keep it more subtle. And I think this one here in the back, I want to drop it just a bit. If I look at my perspective guide here, if I crank that up, we can see if these are in line, they're not really in the same line. And I could just kind of feel that. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to grab this section here, make sure I have enough of it. And then we're just going to bring that a bit lower. And honestly, it feels just a hair too small. There we go. So let's hide that perspective. That feels better. A little more balanced feeling now. Okay. So I'm definitely liking this idea of this warm light, the sunset kind of coming in from the right side here. Well, I guess the left side. Nope, the right side. Got confused. Um, and then the storm rolling in from the left. And then this kind of balancing between those elements. There's a lot to kind of like balance, but I think it's kind of fun. I think the reflection of all this can be really interesting to kind of make happen. So I kind of like the idea of really keeping a lot of the chrome and just making it match this environment. But at the same time, it could look really cool if these are more made of the like the stonework, or it has like the moss growing off of it. Um, we're gonna have to include some wind effects, so it's more like particles, kind of like with uh, a motion blur kind of look on it. Would be pretty good at that, and kind of giving it some kind of direction would be good. Um, yeah, these mountains aren't it. They're like not the shape I want. First of all, need to tweak that a little bit. But then the actual kind of like value is wrong. Like they should be a lot darker in parts. I want them to kind of pick up on this sunset look now. And then the glowing orbs I think are going to have a big impact on them too. But like up here in the front, like that's way too light for what's happening in this scene. So let's see what we can do about all this. Kind of want to just flatten it all into one thing. I think it kind of makes sense. Let's do it. It's done. Flattened. All right. Floating islands as wings. I love that idea. That's very cool. Not gonna do that, but I think it's a cool idea. Maybe cracks in the chrome blobs to show the stone underneath. I would have thought it'd be the other way around, where it's like stone, but then there's like flakes of chrome under it. But yeah. So it'd be like plated stones then. Microplated stones. The latest in Machu Picchu technology. think I'll even pop the perspective on for a second just to give myself a little bit more of a kind of like, okay, try to maintain these angles for the flatness of these peaks, right? Like if there's these kind of shelves of stone, try to kind of like get them in line with these ideas. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Whoop. Let's go down to the correct layer, please. Thank you. Okay, I think I want it to always be that it's getting wider as it goes down. That would make sense. Okay. How much it overlaps the base matters. This one, it technically should be that it is more coming out in front. And then this would more so kind of clip here potentially. And then the under base stuff would happen more so there. Right? Something like that. Close to at least, so that'd be like the front edge. Yep, that kind of lines up. I suppose I should actually do this as 2 layers minimum. Always so eager to flatten things. Let's cut that, and we'll put this one behind the other. That way I can kind of do a little easier job of kind of painting a hard edge on parts that I think need that. Okay. And I think I'm gonna roll this towards the purples. Get that kind of like warm sunset kind of potential edge there. And then We'll figure that out. It's not right, but TBD. Yeah, and I think I want like another little spire to kind of like come up and support the edge of that, maybe. I don't know. Nah, I don't think I want that. Maybe it'd go up underneath in the middle. Okay, but I think what would be important is getting these kind of like shelves of green across the tops. Okay. We can do a lot of massive cleanup on this. That's, yeah, okay, so it's this one that needs. Okay. Hello there. I have finally returned after a very long while. Is this a glitch? Is it? I don't know, Math. What is it indeed? Alright, so coming up on 10 minutes to lunch break. Alright, take a look at the grayscale of that. Also, I think I want like floaty rocks too. Let's do a little bit of floaty rocks. Just to show that we're kind of like reaching pinnacle powers here. Maybe you don't get floaty rocks on the map, but when you start getting close to these sources of incredible power. It's not all that uncommon to see them under the influences. Such raw energies. The arcane. Alright, so that's kind of cool. Real quick, let's see if we can just kind of tackle turning that into vine work. So let's go into here, turn off that. I had like a whole armillary sphere thing going. Okay, so if I take that, let's turn on. What are you doing, Charlie? What are you doing? Okay, so we would have this internal glow. And grab this one. Kind of our shadow. Just added those to the swatch there on the left. So it'll be easier for me to go in and grab what I need from it. Okay, and we'll, right now it has like perfectly smooth disc kind of, or blades or whatever these would be. So we're gonna have to probably make them a little more organic. So let's quickly go through and just color these in. Now these ones are the inside ones, so they're going to be hit with this light. Okay. Now there's a lot of overpaint coming from another layer elsewhere I'll have to find and work with. But for now, this can get us in the ballpark. Yeah, it's almost entirely overpaint. So this one is really close to the source, so I kind of like the idea of it getting quite dark, as it's like in contrast to that, but then we're going to have the light bleed over it, but we'll do that on the next pass. Then I think we'll get this edge kind of catching that light. But like, I like these cast shadows that are coming from the rings. Okay, so we gotta find that overpaint action. All right, Pika, don't step on the keyboard. Good girl. Okay, time to do a little overpainting. We're 2 minutes to, so I'll keep this nice and quick. Great. All right, and then a bit more of it here. Now, did I get the right color for it? I think that kind of works. Like the green vine with the blue orb is kind of the tactic here. Like that's the theme. Now what I want to do is come back and add more vine elements like tendrils and leaves, kind of like peeling off and kind of pushing around like little thin kind of vine tendrils could be good too. But yeah, okay, so that we're gonna go on lunch now. So we are at 1 o'clock. So I'm gonna give that a save. I'm liking the direction. We're definitely gonna have to do a lot of work with the lighting because like there's this purple lightning, there's this orange sunset, there's this deep kind of like heavy storm cloud with maybe like a bit of the lightning glow. Although I don't want that to be like strong light, but like it might help with like backlighting and stuff. Might adjust the sky. I don't know. I might adjust a lot of things. We'll see. But the base is going to be a challenge to kind of like pull it all together. But I like this one. It's tricky, but interesting. So, okay, I'm going to give that a save. I don't think there's much to the time lapse, unfortunately, so I don't know if I'll bother running that. All right, my lunch alarm. Yes, phone, please behave. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Time lapse, export. Are you worth watching? Probably not. 15 seconds of time lapsey nonsense. I don't know if we want to. Yeah, there's not much to it yet. We'll enjoy time lapse at the end. But for now, I'll hide the reference there. can enjoy that. Yeah, so I think, what do we want to do next steps wise? I think tweaking the chrome to kind of match the environment, maybe making it a little more Mosu Picchu so there could be like moss on it, maybe. But like keeping it mostly chrome is maybe the best move. Definitely getting the colors and environment reflecting in it so that it has that going. Tweaking the lighting, especially on kind of like the underside of the pillars and the base itself. The whole rock structure is not there yet. These clouds, maybe I need to balance a bit more. There's a lot. The whole thing needs work. I'll say that. Okay, so I'm going to get a timer going, and that will let you know whence I shall return from my harvesting of the foods into my tum-tum, my refueling efforts. Okay, so let's move that here. I'm going to scooch that down. Maybe zoom out a little because the lunch break kind of blocks some stuff. There we go, that's a bit better. Scooch that up here, just so you know when I'm back. All right, well, we'll be back with the Larry link, and we're gonna keep working on this. I think we can get it pretty much done to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done looking at this. I'm happy with it. I would be willing to upload it, but I kind of have been staring at it too long. That's often how it goes, where I'm like, okay, I need to like look at something different for a while before I kind of like decide I'm completely happy. But yeah, all right. Anyways, I'm supposed to be eating lunch. I'll see you in less than an hour. Hello, hello, hello. We're back from lunch. 2 o'clock. Welcome back. All right. Hello, phone. Please stop. Eh. There we go. All right, we're back. Hello. Sorry about that. Fueled up. All right. So I have here a Larry link for you all. Boop 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 boop. There we go in the chat. And got a little bit of a break from looking at it, so let's see what stands out. There's obviously lots of details to be done. I like the vinage there. Definitely having tendrils and stuff coming off of it will be cool. Just doing color grades on the chrome will be nice. The like mountains, peaks, I think those need kind of the most work. And also maybe a drop shadow across the base will be good too. So we did do that in the original. It was like this layer here kind of had some of that going on. But that's not quite what I want. I think I'm going to do a layer behind this. Okay. And I can't do that as a multiply because it's going to be translucent. It's going to be quite dark. Is this currently masked off? Yes, it is. All right, I need to go below here. Vines surrounding the other orbs. Yeah, like on the sides here. That would make sense actually to kind of show how this kind of power. Maybe they're like lifting off the rocks to kind of create that spiral look. Some Dr. Seuss vibes. Yeah, kind of does. Ooh, that was a good move. All right. So I got a chess game going on with a coworker. Not bad, sir. Not bad. I'll have to think about that one. I did like 5 pre-moves and now we'll see where to go. All right. Arc reactor orbs. Take the queen. Queen's long gone. Long gone, yep. We're in the end game now. And I am definitely losing hard right now. It's not good. Not good. Zugzwang. I mean, it's coming up to it almost, where I will have no good moves left. And the only option is to take an L. Last. Zugzwang's last move. Yeah. Alright. This is my first game against him. And I decided to choose Chaos at the beginning, only to discover he's quite a capable player. So now I've been very much off the on the back foot. So, mm. Trading is not ideal. That's pretty cornered. Can't go there. If I take. Yeah, that's rough. Moss on the wings. I think moss on, yeah. All right, back to the art. I'll deal with that game later. Deal with that loss quickly. All right. Let's see. Okay, so moss on the wings, good option. Let's actually do like a bit of a color shift on it to begin with, because I think that'll be important to resolve before we get too detailed with things. So we got reflection here of the reticle. We have kind of like some of the front pieces. I'm going to do an overlay color. Let's get the sky color in here. Okay. And then we're going to go green for the orb. Just kind of discover what ones are in this group or what ones are not. Okay. And again with the sky color here. Yeah, I never like to just give up on a game. I'll always kind of battle it out until, you know, they checkmate me or whatnot. But this one's been just kind of slowly getting cooked. So part of me was just like, you know what, maybe I should just like resign this one and start with a more appropriate board where I actually make sure to play with better fundamentals instead of just kind of being a bit too reckless, hoping that they'll fall into a trap. But if you know what you're doing, you play your fundamentals well enough, those kinds of moves are very, very foolish to pull off or to attempt, which was the case for me. Does anyone here play chess? Because if you do, I enjoy new opponents. Um, Welcome to do the day-long challenges with me. Like the 24-hour rule where you only have to do one move a day. I like that because I, first of all, my greatest opponent in chess is the clock. I will, if I'm playing like a blitz game or any kind of like, you know, quick game where you know you need to take your move in like 3 minutes or something, I will always lose on time. Always, like, even if I'm handedly winning the match, I will lose because I'm just like, I want to keep looking at all the moves and calculating, and it's not good. I like to overthink way too much in chess. It's a problem. Fair enough. I mean, got to start somewhere. I took a long time to get where I am at it, and I'm still losing most of my games. To be fair, the games that I do play are against like very good opponents. Because I like losing to people who are extremely skilled and trying to figure out what I did wrong and learn from that. Um, I played, I think, 20 games against a guy I throw axes with, and he's very, very good at chess. And I've beaten him once now, finally, like probably our 21st game. Um, and it was very exciting. But I assume that was, you know, I got a little lucky or whatnot. But hopefully, next time it'll be in the 10th game I'll win, and then the 5th game, and just kind of get closer and closer to matching his skill. Yeah, no, I was honestly like the computer does an analysis afterwards, right? And actually, let me pull up the game and see, because like it was a really good game. Like we both played very well. Um, that game, I had an 84.1% accuracy, which is pretty good in my books. uh, and then it rated it. What did it rate the game at? Because it's pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. Oh, it was also my first brilliant move I've done too. Yeah. Okay, it rated it as 1900 elo skill level, which is pretty cool. Pretty up there. My rank is only in like the 1200, so I'll take it. But yeah, because I do so few games, like games last a long time, I don't go up or down very quickly, and most of my games are losses against my opponent that kicks my butt repeatedly. So it just kind of goes down slowly. But that one I won a lot because he is much higher rated than I am. Okay, anyways, enough about that. Let's work on the art. Yes, if anyone ever wants to play chess with me, I am interested in having more chess rivals. Get all my tips from my good friend Zugzwang. Okay. All right. I think that it would be kind of cool to have the moss on the chrome. Let's get that blue up there. So, wind one peak, rain on the other, or only wind to represent arcane power? Did you settle on only wind? I think I'm going to go only wind. So we have kind of like the storm theme throughout, but then I think the trap core itself is going to be representative of just the wind. And I think that'll probably be like more appropriate to make sure it's like, yeah, it's arcane. Uh, it's not like, oh, it has to be hard and fast. This is the rule. Like you know, it's totally incorrect if you don't have it this way. It will, trick people or something crazy. It's like not a big issue if it's one or the other. But I do think that thematically I like the uh, the identity of it just being like, yeah, okay, it's definitely the arcane leanings. Rainy mirrors trap skin next time. Ooh. Like the shadow mirrors kind of trap, or be kind of cool. Oh, it's clipped. I was like, why can't I get darker over these pixels? I don't think that cloud is too bright or too strong. I see what happened. All right. We are at the portion of the show where I am just kind of quietly rendering. So if we would like, I can throw on some music. Just kind of getting into the zone of the flow state, as it were, where it's all about just render, let the art do its thing. Not too much to discuss around it, I suppose. I am tempted to have like a little mountain peak off in the distance or something. That might be good. Ah, prefer a Narnia closet trap skin for the infinite mirror trap. Yeah, the armoire, the wardrobe. I think that would be a pretty good one. Go a little more purple. a look at the grayscale. So something we could do is make sure that there is kind of like rim light on it, or the cloud behind is a little lighter than the mountain in front. Yeah, I want the base to feel a little bit more grounded. But I like the implication that it's like half kind of like locked inside of the rock. But like, I don't know, these tiny little peaks, maybe I want the whole thing to kind of like be seated there. I think that might, like, I like it hanging over the edge, but yeah, little waterfalls could be a nice addition. That's true. I might try that. But like, okay, so if I took this and then maybe did something, this being in front, maybe I'll use this layer. It's a little more like this. And then maybe something like that. So I do that, but I make it a little more environmentally colored. Like it's further away. Just slightly out of focus. And then I kind of want the clouds to like, you know, roll between them. because they're up in the clouds. Yeah, feels a little bit better. So I think this cloud kind of getting right up to the edge of the base feels just a little bit too lined up. It was just that cloud like curved directly into that corner, and so it just kind of made it a little bit harder to kind of see where one ended and the other began. Tangents in art. Always be on the lookout. Okay, I think this cloud, honestly, is maybe encroached a little too much here. Plus, I like the idea of that waterfall sounding thing, so maybe if I like give a little more room for it to breathe, I can kind of create that little stream. Make it look nice. So let's jump to the top of this. Grab a little pool there for a bit. Gather, and maybe it kind of has like a thin little one. Just kind of sticking to rocks here and there. If anything, I guess it might kind of build more the lower it goes as it gathers water from different sources together. A little stream at the top, but having it split apart maybe makes it quite a bit thinner. I might like slow down and pool more in some areas. With all the storm and rain, it's probably fair to have all these streams everywhere. Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with that. I might extend the base, like the ground under the base, a bit further out and kind of like have it on four, like the whole platform, and then just the front edge of the base is kind of sticking over. Uh, hmm. Hmm. I don't know. Is there a plan yet for the little tail under the core? Good question. Like this little part here, I haven't come up with a plan for that. Like there could be something specific that feels right for the theme that we could use. I imagine it would make sense that it would kind of like match what we do with the wings, but we don't have to. Do you have any ideas for that, Jesse? Small white mountain goat. Bring the mountain friend billion. Right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add more puddled water. Oh, a little stalactite. Yeah, that could work. Mm-hmm. Drippy piece of stone. I like that. I think I'll do that. I think that makes sense to me. Can I do that? No, has to be on a layer above. All right, well, we'll go above here. Okay, I think that's cool. So, like, it could be like one larger one kind of idea. Could be a bunch of small ones to kind of more directly reference that. Or a combination. Now the question is, would it have kind of the grass layers, but would that be upside down because it's been flipped? Or is it more that it floats? Like this already, and it's Naturally upside down. Any huts slash houses on the mountains? I mean, we could definitely include little huts for funsies. If we would like. Seems easy enough. But yeah, I mean, are we implying that there are habitants on this trap, or is it more like a fun diorama? Okay. I feel like this would get some light off of that orb, right? And then maybe there'd be like some deep kind of lightning colors coming in from behind, filling in these shadows with like a little bit of that energy. Pushing it a little more extreme to see what that looks like. Okay. Little ice cream cone base right there. I'm gonna hide this part and that. Make it stand alone a little more. A cooling strain of vegetation that thrives in windy environments. This vine is able to absorb the little moisture it needs from cool breezes. As the winds in Machu Picchu are fueled by the arcane magics, the plants end up absorbing this as well, which further propels their growth and nutritional value. Is that from MouseHunt descriptions, or is that something you created? Because I love it. Feels very in world. I don't remember what the descriptions of the items are. Bit of water pooling on the base. All right. Mm, is there going to be the world's teeniest, tiniest droids living on one of these? I think that'd be a cute little detail. Could see Bed doing that. But admittedly, unfortunately, my gut is being a little bit upset with me. So I might have to end stream a little bit earlier than I intended. Unfortunately. But I'd say we got pretty far along. Um, I'm quite happy with this. I definitely am going to balance some more things, but it's really finicky beyond this point. But yeah, keep an eye out for a little droid living on here. Maybe it'll happen. But yeah, I am going to have to end stream early. So, unfortunately, just not feeling super great suddenly. So, but we got a lot done. I'm quite happy with this. I definitely liked the guidance and suggestions. I was gonna go like full Mina, like pure storm magic, but like the suggestion of being like, well, like let's keep it arcane and like the wind side and all that, I think is really good. That helped me kind of reel that in, and just like I don't know, just trying different things that you all were kind of like giving and feeding the ideas. There's definitely more that I want to, like, return to this and put more in like the moss and stuff on the chrome, having a little like cute details on the rocks. Like I think the rocks are still they need a little bit more work. Uh, so there's going to be that. But it's definitely got a lot of legs to stand on. So thank you so much. And sorry I got to bail early. I'm gonna share the Larry link again. Let me put that in the chat, and we'll also take a quick look at the time lapse. I know there's not much to it because we missed kind of the main painting phase, but we'll wrap out with that. And yeah, sorry. Next week it should be Dave. Let's set that to all. It's 30 seconds long, anyways, no matter if it's sped up or slowed down. All right. So, yeah, I'm not happy with the mountains yet. Like, I want to kind of like ground it even better. And then I think there's a lot of lighting stuff to kind of figure out. So, although the base structure is here, I think it's pretty well established. I think when you see the final, it might evolve quite a bit. But like not big swing stuff, but more just kind of like, oh, it's pushed even further. It's a little more enhanced in these ways. The lighting is more kind of focused, and maybe the base is more integrated. The rainbow base specifically is even more kind of intensely, contrasty. So this is perhaps, just one of the bases to test it with. Actually, let's pop out a few more bases before I bounce. So we'll go down to the bottom of the image. Oop. Here we go. So that looks pretty cool. Earlier bases in the old classic. That looks great with this actually. I really like how the clouds and the prestige base kind of flow together, and the colors are all kind of like coming from the same zone. So that's kind of cool. What other bases do we have? Yeah, these are just kind of like stand-in. But that edge, I'm gonna have to touch up the edge. It's a little bit pixel line. Yeah, as we kind of go through a couple of bases, I think they all look decent. But yeah, I'm going to integrate it even better. I have some ideas of how to get the light to kind of play on it, like where the whole thing has a bit of a haze. Maybe the clouds are like rolling into this scene, and then the area right where the cheese is, maybe the clouds have parted, and the lightning kind of reticle will light that up. More so that it's not covered by pixels, but that kind of idea. So hopefully that'll work. I have lots of ideas on like how to push this, but they're all lots of little layered, kind of tiny, subtle things that should add up to quite a significant kind of looking piece. But again, sorry, I got to bounce. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate your company and giving me feedback and playing the game. But I'll see you around. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and happy hunting, everyone. I will catch you next time. Probably Dave next week. But yeah, until I see you next time. Bye bye.